Witch Hat Atelier. This has been a huge anime this season that's gotten very popular among many fantasy fans, and well, it's already becoming one of the most popular fantasy anime out there. And I think one of the themes that they kind of explore is actually very important to the story and plot, which is outsiders. Now, most fantasy shows, or literally any other show, usually you have this concept of a magic power or a special power, which is only unique to certain characters. For example, superheroes who obviously have a power that is unique to them, and they have to use those to defend the people that are powerless. But in the case of Witch Hat Atelier, they say that this is a lie, as they do an excellent job at showing how society kind of has this massive split between witches and outsiders, and they do this in multiple ways. As at the end of the day within the series, magic is just drawing with special ink. It's a craft and it's not a bloodline. And well, in the main character Coco's position, she is the unknowing outsider who accidentally peeks behind the curtain, and her existence is technically a crime against the natural order of the world and the foundation of this world. Now obviously right at the start of Witch Hat, we kind of understand the fact that Coco has made this ultimate outsider mistake whenever it comes to turning her mother into stone, and essentially using the power that she didn't know she had without a manual, and that is why it goes so terribly wrong. And well, throughout the wizarding world in Witch Hat Atelier, there is this big kind of theme of gatekeeping. They gatekeep the magic secret to protect people. And it is actually a form of extreme systematic control, which is very heavily presented throughout the entire show, with stuff like the Knights Morales, which of course is stopping people from knowing the truth. And if an outsider does learn the truth, they don't just get an invitation like, you know, well done, you've been accepted, you finally learned magic. No, they end up getting their memories forcibly wiped. And to the system, Coco's mind is better off broken than informed, which is one of the factors that makes Witch Hat so cool, because anybody could technically use magic. Coco has proved that you can use magic, but instead this system is blocking people from using it, all in the name of protection. And because Coco wasn't raised with the rigid do's and don'ts of the Atelier, she uses magic creatively, which is a little bit different to how some of her friends or other witches would use magic. She kind of thinks outside of the box, which maybe some of the other witches wouldn't have, because they've been taught not to think outside of the box. They've been taught a certain way to do magic. And that's why we see so many different examples of Coco helping out people with different kinds of magic, which maybe the other witches wouldn't have thought of. And it's honestly kind of her strength throughout the show at the moment, as she is the one that comes up with the ideas, and the witch apprentices around her actually do the drawing, as they are better than her. As established witches actually focus on the rules of the spell, whereas Coco focuses on the person that the spell is helping. And of course there are characters like Agot who are actually jealous of Coco's outsider wonder, whereas Agot has the skill, but Coco more has the soul that the system usually crushes out of people. And we see this throughout the interactions that Coco has with Agot. Agot seems to be very head down, ready to do work, whereas Coco seems to be more wondrous and adventurous about what she wants to do with her magic and how to help people. And of course, with this entire system in place, it really begs the question, who are the bad guys in this series? Because of course you've got the brimmed caps, who should be the villains. They're the ones that want to use forbidden magic, and they're obviously the ones that created that spell that had Coco's mum turned into stone. But when we take a look at stuff like the Knights Morales as well, they also seem like the bad guys too, because obviously the, in quotation marks, good witches want to wipe your memories, and well, the bad witches want to give you forbidden knowledge. So who is really the villain in this show? And that is what makes it so cool, because literally everybody is almost out to get Coco. And Coco is kind of caught between a system that wants to erase her and a cult that wants to use her, and being an outsider makes her a perfect pawn for this, because she is very unaware of a lot of these systems that are in place and very unaware of magic itself. This kind of brings on to the final point of Witch Hat Atelier, which is the show itself is all about gatekeeping. Now, again, this is a kind of undertone that we see throughout the series. As I said, with the systematic control and the mind wiping that a lot of the witches do, it is very obvious that this show is all about keeping that secret of magic, keeping the secret of witches, and not having this leaked to the public. Now, many people might have different ideas as to whether this is good or bad or not. Obviously, the kind of idea that the witches come up with is the fact that if everybody could access magic, who knows what they could do with it, which is a very understandable stance from them. There are also some that argue that if limiting this to just the witches, it could kind of hinder the creativity and the outside of the box thinking that we see from characters like Coco, which wouldn't be so good for the future of witches in general. And Coco pretty much proves the point that the most dangerous thing to do to a status quo isn't something like a powerful spell that might destroy the world. It's more so an outsider with a pen with the will to learn. As the one thing that the system of witches currently wants to stop is people from knowing more, and that is the only thing that Coco wants to do. I think this is one of the key reasons as to why this show is so popular, and also to mention the really interesting factor of the English dub. Now this is something that not very many people kind of bring up, as the English dub tends to get forgotten about. You know, nobody cares about the English dub, it's just an English dub. Why would we care about this? But it actually perfectly presents how the outsiders are, as they actually switch accents. As if you notice, all of the outsiders tend to have a pretty standard American accent, which is pretty default for any kind of anime dub, which makes them seem pretty plain and just regular, whereas the witches have a different accent, being more British. Now they actually, go even further into it by having a mix of posh accents. One of the characters, Arugio, has a Yorkshire accent, and some of the other characters also have some other European accents.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
Seems that grasping wind seal wasn't quite right. Perhaps a bit too large for grabbing a mountain apple. Greetings, Ulrugio. Finished your work, have you? I thought it was going to take
You took on another apprentice in my absence.
It's more complicated than that. You see, forbidden magic was involved.
Forbidden magic. Come,
Ulrugio!
we'll have nothing to do with the brimmed caps here. I'm turning this girl into the Knights Morales.
Which makes them very different to the outsiders, and further kind of creates that gap between outsiders and witches. And this is also further explored whenever you have interactions between witches and outsiders, and them not really understanding what the limit of their power is and how much they can really do, as we have had many different moments of that happening as well. And honestly, I can't wait to see what else Witch Hat Atelier has in store for us, because of course this has been a manga that has been going on for quite a while now, and it seems like it is 100% going to be getting more seasons, more episodes, and potentially even go right to the end. I really feel like this is one of these anime that will go to the end and will manage to get that final season, which many mangaka wish to have. And it is so big, in fact, that some people are also talking to the Witch Hat Atelier creator and telling her that it is part of the big three of fantasy anime at the moment. You gotta remember, there's only 10 episodes of this anime out right now, and it's already being compared to shows like Freerun, Delicious in Dungeon, and a ton more, and saying that these are the big three: Witch Hat Atelier, Delicious in Dungeon, and Freerun, which is absolutely insane. So that is pretty much everything I have in terms of a deep dive on the outsiders within Witch Hat Atelier. I do want to go into some more stuff as well to do with the anime, as well as some other anime as well. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if you guys did enjoy this video and what you kind of want to see next. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.